need help, don't you wish that you could have a fairy godmother come and solve all your problems? Don't hold your breath. She doesn't do that kind of thing anymore. Well, she's getting on in the years, you know. If you need her help, she can still solve anything from broken windows to broken hearts. You just have to go down to her cottage in the Bavarian woods and wait in line just like everybody else. When you knock on the door, I'll open it. I'll make you nice and comfortable, and I'll offer you a drink. You see, I'm the fairy godmother's assistant. My job used to be quite simple, really, until the fairy godmother announced that she needs to take a well-deserved rest. I remember exactly what she told me as she was leaving.
Don't worry,
The fairy godmother told me.
you're very sensible. I'm sure you'll figure out a way to handle whatever comes up. Besides, I'm only been gone a couple of days.
I didn't get much sleep that night. I kept wondering how I could possibly fill her shoes. I got up the next morning and went to the kitchen to make a fresh glass of Fanta. When I heard a knock on the door, I found a young woman with a tear-stained face, wearing a tattered dress. I explained that the fairy godmother would be gone for a few days and that I was her assistant. But she looked so sad that I invited her in for a glass of lemonade to cheer her up. As soon as she sat down, she started to cry. I sat beside her and gave her a handkerchief to dry her eyes.
First, wipe your tears, and then tell me what's bothering you.
I said in a soothing voice. The young woman took a few breaths before speaking.
My name is Ella, but my stepmother and my stepsisters, they call me Cinderella, because my apron is always covered with cinders from cleaning the fireplace. They're mean to me, and they make me clean and wash the dishes and run all their errands while they're out having fun. But now, I have to make their gowns for the royal ball. But I want to go too.
She started to cry again.
I'm really sorry to hear that.
I responded.
I suppose you came here to ask the fairy godmother for advice.
She nodded.
Well, I'm sorry, but I make Fanta, not magic.
Ella began to cry again.
Can't you do anything? Well, there isn't much that I can do. It's really all up to you.
She dried her eyes again with a handkerchief and stared at me in amazement.
Up to me?
She queried.
Yes, it's really quite simple.
I said.
You know, if you want to go to the royal ball, then go. Don't let anyone or anything stop you from going. But how can I go to the ball? I don't have a gown. Well, you are a seamstress, and you do make beautiful gowns for your stepsisters. Why not make one for yourself?
Ella pondered this for a while, then shook her head.
But I don't have any money for satin or velvet. I can't afford it. Well, is there any velvet curtains or maybe even some satin bed sheets?
Her worried look slowly turned into a smile.
Oh yeah, there is.
She gushed.
Oh.
But her smile was short-lived. Another question had flashed into her mind.
What about dancing shoes? I don't have any.
Well, then go barefoot.
I advised. Ella couldn't believe her ears.
You expect me to go to the royal ball barefooted? Well, you don't have anything else, and you wouldn't want to wear those dirty, ugly sandals, do you? But the castle's over a mile from my house. How am I supposed to get there?
I knew Ella wouldn't like my answer.
I suppose you could just walk.
A big frown appeared on her face. This wasn't the kind of help she had hoped to get from her fairy godmother.
But when I get
there. How am I supposed to get in? Aren't I supposed to arrive in some fancy horse-drawn carriage?
She whined.
Right.
I agreed.
Wait, they might not let you through the main gate, but... You know, I don't think they're guarding the kitchen. Do you?
I guess not.
She said tentatively.
Well, I hope not.
Ella seemed uncomfortable with my answers. She'd never done anything so daring before. I wasn't surprised when I heard another, but...
But what if the prince asks me to dance? What should I say?
Then tell them to be careful and not to step on your toes.
I joked. Ella laughed so hard she had to use the handkerchief again. Sensing she was close to deciding in favor of going to the ball, I gave her one more push.
What do you have to lose?
Nothing.
Ella exclaimed, smiling from ear to ear.
Nothing at all.
She stood up to shake my hand.
Thank you for all your help. I've got to go now. There's so many things I've got to do.
Before she left, I offered her some final advice.
Look, if you don't want your stepmother and your stepsisters to find out you're at the ball, leave at exactly 12 o'clock sharp. That way, you're in bed by the time they get home.
I was quite pleased with myself for helping Ella. Relaxing for a moment with a glass of Fanta, I wondered if the fairy godmother, with all her magic, could have done a better job. I spent a good part of the day congratulating myself and feeling thankful I'd gone through my first visitor without messing up. Yes. Okay.
And action.
Need help.